think that, he deserves Hall of Fame consideration, but I wanted to see like exactly where he was, as far as his performance value, like with like a great, great, great fighter. So I was interested to see that. Um, you know, um, and after the fight, I didn't think Canelo would dominate like that, but I did think he would win. I was kind of, I'm not gonna say surprised, but I thought Canelo probably won every round. So that was a little bit like, like that, I didn't. I'm not gonna try to be a genius and act like I thought he would win every round because that's a little stretch. He performed really good. He looked great. Um, a lot of people back down on Jermell, but you know, when I was younger, I'll get frustrated at fighters for not fighting the way that we on the outside think that they should fight. But fighters are what they are. And everybody is not a generational talent, super great fighter. Some people are very good. Some people are excellent. Some people are great. Some people could beat every style. Some people can only beat certain styles. Like I never really. So I'm not upset with Jamel. People are like saying he should have did this or he should have did that, but he didn't do it because Canelo didn't allow him to. Canelo's a great fighter. Like great fighters have a way of taking things away from you and making it look a little bit easier than what we perceive it should be. Like Muhammad Ali fought Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston was a great, great fighter. He made him quit. Lomachenko a few years ago at 130. I think it was like four fighters in a row. They all quit. Ray Leonard made Roberto Duran quick. Um, I never seen Jermell lose in the fight and turn what he did against Bo. I never seen him lose in the fight and then turn into what Leonard did against Hearns. Jermell is a patient counterpuncher. When he was losing to Tony Harrison in his second fight, he didn't go crazy and go balls to the wall. He just was patient. He started boxing, ran Tony into a left hook. When he was losing to John Jackson, he didn't go crazy, balls to the wall. He ran him into a big right hand. That's how he fights. So, on that stage, I wasn't expecting him to turn into like Aaron Pryor or Arturo Gotti and just, you know, go balls to the wall. I believe that now I'm not saying that he couldn't have. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been a good thing if like after about the eighth or ninth round, he like, man, I'm losing, and he just go balls to the wall and let it all hang out. I'm not saying that that would have been wrong. I'm saying that we've never seen him do that before, and that's not how he fights. So to expect him to change, on that night, is not really realistic, in my opinion. To expect him to turn into something that we've never seen in his whole career, almost 40 fights, him turn into that. He's a patient counterpuncher. He just happened to be able to hit guys and knock them out. You know what I mean? We never seen him like work his way back into a fight and like turn up the volume and start throwing 75, 80 punches around. We've never seen him do that. So I didn't expect him to do that on that night. And when he hit Canelo with that big left hook, Canelo just ate it. I'm like, this fight over with. Because Jermell usually he gotta hurt you. You know what I'm saying? And the guys that he don't hurt and that go the distance and go far with him, it's usually a controversial close fight. He loses a lot of rounds. Even as an elite fighter, if you look at his fights and look at the scorecards, you're like, damn. Like even against Austin Trout, it was a majority decision. People don't realize that. They just kind of just like overlook that kind of stuff. You know, um, every time he's pushed a lot of rounds, it's always close. Like even with Banana Rosario, I thought Rosario was winning all the rounds he wasn't knocked down. He just can't take a punch. And every time he got hurt, it was a 10-8 round for Jamel. But the rounds that he wasn't getting knocked down, he was doing great. If you look at the fight, don't look at the result, look at the fight. So that's the hard part for Jamel fighting Canelo is that he turns fights around with his power, but Canelo got great defense and an iron chin. You know what I mean? He got great defense and an iron chin. So, that's tough to deal with. You know what I mean? If you're a guy that tries to turn fights around with one punch. So that's pretty much what we saw. We saw an all-time great fighter versus an excellent fighter. Even maybe even a Hall of Famer. But Canelo's a special fighter, man, and he, you know, on the outside it might look different, but on the inside in there with him, you could tell Jermell was trying to figure stuff out, was trying to work his way back in the fights, was trying to try little stuff, but that stuff really wasn't working. Canelo was a lot stronger than him too, man. See how he was bullying him around and holding his head and choking him and putting him in headlocks and stuff, man. He's a strong dude. He's mean as fuck too, man. He's really mean. He don't act like a tough guy, and but that's a mean little guy, man. He's mean, and he does that to fighters. He made Billy Joe Sanders quit. You know, the guy Callum Smith from the UK, that dude's a killer. He knocks everybody, puts them on YouTube with brutal knockouts. Great big guy, about 6'3". Man, he got in the ring with Canelo, man. He barely threw a punch.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he messed up his whole bicep.
Yeah, like Canelo's an intimidating fighter. He's mean. He does that kind of stuff to guys. So, like, I'm not mad at Jermell, man. I think he did the best he could on that night. Maybe he come back and be on that stage and maybe he'll be better for it. But man, that's a big stage to be on for the first time. Canelo is by far the best fighter he's ever been in the ring with. And that class shows, man. Canelo been in tough. He's been in really, really deep and really, really tough, man. And I'm not saying Jermell hasn't fought excellent competition because he has, but it's not even close to the things that Canelo is seeing. Canelo then fought guys like Cotto, Hall of Fame fighter. Floyd Mayweather, Hall of Fame fighter. Shane Mosley, even though Mosley was old, but they still show you different things. Kovalev is a Hall of Fame fighter, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. You know what I mean? He had just knocked out Anthony Yard. Um,
And
Bivol,
Olympians too. He has a lot of Olympians in his
yes,
resume,
man.
like Laura.
Laura, you know what I mean? A prime Austin Trout. James Kirkland, a really rough, hard fighter. Triple G 3 times is a silver medalist. Caleb Plant, a national champion. Canelo has fought guys with amateur pedigree, bigger than him, smaller than him. He's seen a lot of stuff, and we take that for granted, and we try to like downgrade his competition, because of some of the catch weights, yeah, and he's had a couple close decisions go his way. I don't have no problem with admitting that. But he's been in tough and he's improved. He learned a lot from Floyd. He do a lot of little tricky stuff that Floyd do, man. He fought Floyd at 23 years old and he's built himself since then, man. And, he might have slipped a little bit, but we looking at a great fighter, that could have held up in any era. He might not have been the man and unified champion in any era, but Canelo will hold his own in any era, man. And we just saw a little bit of a difference in the class of fighters. That's all. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. Jermell did his best. That dude's just a great fighter.